Okay, what's going on guys, this is Ali here, and I thought that because I haven't done one in a long time, I would bring you a tutorial. And this tutorial is going to be on how I position 3D text and logos in images to make them look like a final scene and to make them look realistic. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your background image that you want to put a logo into. So we're going to come down to where it says materials, and you double click, and then you'll produce a matte, just standard material, and you double click on that, and then go to where it says texture, press the arrow, and then load image, and then find an image that you have on your computer that you'd like to put the logo into. So I've just got this one here, and then when this icon, when this box pops up, you just press yes, and then close that, and then go up to this button here with the 4 arrows pointing outwards, and select background. Then you'll see that a background tab pops up here. Then you drag your newly made material onto your background, and then that pops up. But you can see that it's kind of been a bit squished, and the dimensions aren't how you'd like them to be. So go to the render settings button here, up in the top, and you firstly go to output, and then underneath the word output there's a small arrow which you click, and then go to film/video, and then what I like to use is HDV/HDTV 720/25. So just select that one, and then go to save, and call it whatever you like. So I'll just call it Tutorial Fun Ye. Okay, then hit save. Then format, go to PNG for the best quality, and leave alpha channel as it is, and then go to anti-aliasing, and from geometry put that to best for even better quality. Then close that, and then you can see that the image has been stretched, and it's now a decent sort of dimension, well, it has decent dimensions for you to then work on. Next thing you're going to want to do is open up a plane. So you press this cube and find plane, which is there, and then you're going to want to just position it so it looks like it is at the same angle as the floor you want to put your logo onto, or text. So let's just play with this a bit. Move that down, and then to make it bigger you just use this button here and click and drag, and that makes it bigger. There we go. Just got to angle that a bit better. Okay, that seems about right. Okay, and then once you've done that, this is probably the most important bit, so make sure you're paying attention. You firstly click on your background tab where you've put the material onto. You hold Control and then click on that material and then drag it onto the plane, and it duplicates it onto the plane. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is right click on your plane tab, and then go to Cinema 4D tags at the top, and then down to compositing. And then once you've done that, that small icon there will pop up next to your plane tab. You scroll down here to compositing background, and you tick that. And then now when you render it, the plane recognizes the image as you've duplicated the material onto your plane, and it blends in, and it's not just a massive grey blob, and it actually looks like the image now. So that's all good. So now what you're going to want to do is open up your logo or text or whatever you're working with. So I'm going to open up the Dare logo. So let me find that. If you're opening up a logo, chances are you'll need to open up an AI file. So I've got the Dare AI file here. So you open that and just hit OK. No, you don't. That's wrong. Sorry about that. You hit File, Merge, and then you open the logo. So there it is, and then hit OK, and then you can see that the your logo will appear kind of in a bit of an odd place, but that's fine. And because the Dare logo is more than one part, you press this small plus sign here, and then the two different paths pop up. And then to make this logo 3D, what you're going to want to do is go to you click this button here and go to Extrude NURBS, and you can do that twice so that you have two Extrude NURB tabs, and then you drag each of the individual paths onto one of the Extrude NURBS. So that one there and that one there, and then you can see the logos now become 3D. And then what you're going to want to do is you can either you could possibly give them more depth by going to movement, and then where it says this number here, which is 20, put it to maybe 50, and then the same with this one to 50. Okay, and then select both of the layers at the same time by holding Shift, and then you can manipulate it to exactly how you want it. Get this looking a bit more like it fits in the scene. And make sure that your logo is resting just on the tip of the plane, so that if you move it down you can see it sink into the plane. You're going to want to have it just above the plane, because that's the floor, so the shadow is going to be where that plane is. So you're going to want to have it sort of about there. I'm just going to tilt it a bit more. Oh my god. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So now when you render it, it will look horrible to start with, because you haven't put any realistic shadowing on it. But that's what it's going to look like. Then you're going to want to just open up a light. I find this easier just to use individual lights for this kind of thing. And you're going to want to position this. You've got to firstly locate your light source within the piece, within your image. And for me, I kind of think it's just in front. So make sure that you have a light that's quite high up. And once you think you've positioned it right, you come down to attributes and you click on shadow, and then where it says none you click and then put shadow map soft, and then when you hit render you'll see it comes up with this logo, sorry, the shadow, but that's quite strong. So what you might want to do is this takes a bit of playing. Like, you've got to move the light around quite a lot before you get like a nice looking shadow. That's okay. Perhaps move the light a little bit. And it's just trial and error, just moving the light back and forward until you eventually get something that looks averagely nice. It doesn't have to look perfect because you can change it in Photoshop, but for now that's fine. So what we can now do is apply a texture to it, sorry, a material to it. So if you come down to materials, double click, or what you can do is, not many people know this, if you hit file you can go to load material preset, and then your Cinema 4D actually has all of these presets that, like, they have bricks, concrete, they have hundreds of these different materials that I didn't know anything about until a few weeks ago. So that's pretty jammy. But for now, because I'm only on 11.5, I can't get any of these amazing materials. So what I like to use is to go to shader and then Nukai, and then double click on Nukai, and then hit diffuse A, and then change that color to whatever you'd like. So I'm just going to have it kind of we'll go with the red, and then you go down to specular 3A, and then you can change that to another color. It's kind of like the color it blends to. So I'll put a kind of slightly lighter red. Then just click and drag that onto both of the pieces of the Dare logo, or your logo, or text, whatever you're using, and then you can see that it renders out averagely nice. I'd actually quite like to add more depth to mine, so you can just up the movement. I'm going to actually add quite a lot, so roughly 240, that kind of thing. Go up again to 240, and then render, just see how that looks. It's looking okay. If we just play around with this light a bit more. It's looking okay. What we can do is you can add another light, and have this one just in front. I know that a lot of people say that the lighting has to be exactly right in comparison to the image, and you have to have the light in the exact place that the sun is in the image, but at the end of the day it's what looks best, and you can make it look realistic and have the shadowing exactly right, but that might sacrifice like a nice looking logo, and at the end of the day you're advertising the clan or whoever you're designing for. So on the banner you're going to want your logo to look as good as possible. So you're going to want to always add a shadow to your light source when you're doing this, because it makes it look more realistic every time you do it. I'm actually going to move that forwards. It looks too much like it's hitting the trees. Okay, so that's fair enough. That's pretty much all I would need. I mean, obviously you can do things like if you select both of the layers by holding Control and then selecting both of the extrude NURB tabs, you can add a slight rotate to it or something if you're putting it to one side of your background. And then so now you've got the logo and it's in the scene and it looks pretty nice. It looks fairly realistic. You can then render it out. So if you just hit this render button here, it then renders out the logo in the scene, and it looks realistic, it looks nice, and it looks ready to be put into a background. So yeah, that's the tutorial over. I hope everyone has learnt something. This kind of style is really simple to do once you know how to do everything that I've just shown you. Obviously you can change the colours so that it matches the scene, and you can change the size and the angle of the logo or text or whatever you're putting into a scene. I just think it's really cool in like a background, because before I started doing it I hadn't really seen anyone else using this kind of style, so I think it looks really nice. And also this kind of idea works with any type of scene as well. So here I've just placed the logo onto some grass, but you can, for example, my Dare background that I made with the logo on the moon, I tilted it to its side and I added additional landscapes so it actually looked like it had been smashed into the moon, and you can use different effects and things to just enhance its realism. So I will be going on to make another tutorial about how to make a background out of this and how to make it even more realistic in Photoshop, but for now I was just showing you how to position 3D logos and text within a scene to make it look realistic, so you know what you're doing, because I know it's actually quite complicated until you know it. So I hope you've all taken on board what I said, and in the next tutorial as well I'll show you how to make the grass actually look like it's sort of the logo is actually sitting within the grass, so you'll be having the same style of grass in front of this logo. I'll continue with this same image as well, and then I'll be doing a few more tutorials until we've ended up with a final image. So that'll be good. If you haven't already, make sure you've subscribed to keep up with my videos, and also be sure to check out Reptile Arts. Their link is in the description. It's a new GFX team that's recently just opened, just set up, and they've got some amazing designers, so go and check them out now, and I will speak to you in the next tutorial.